Welcome, everyone, to the 20 questions with a professional. Today, we are doing 20 questions with a realtor, a real estate agent, a tycoon, one might even call him. I am so happy to have this guest on my show, my very first inaugural show. He needs no introduction in certain circles, but in other circles, I'm more than happy to introduce Tyler Roicki, one of my partners in our international real estate team, one of the co-founders of our international real estate team. Tyler, how are you doing today?
I'm phenomenal. I'm so excited that you invited me on as your guest, on the show. Thank you for having me here today, with our audience here.
Oh no, it says your video has been disabled due to internet quality issues. Their video is still recording, so hopefully we are catching that for this. But no, thank you. I'm glad that you could make the time and come out, so to say, into our virtual studio and do this little 20 questions. I hope you're not nervous, are you?
No, I'm not nervous. It's part of what I do. So we're good.
Absolutely. First, we start off with very simple. What is your name? Your name, sir.
My name is Tyler Roicki.
And Tyler, what do you do?
So what I do is I'm an active, real estate license holder. So I have a real estate license. I'm a real estate agent. But more importantly than that, to me personally, is I help realtors personally develop, achieve higher levels of success in their businesses and really move closer towards their purpose in life. So that's what I would say I do. Is I'm more so in the development side of the business, helping other professionals in my business, quite frankly, around the world. So
that is true. That's actually how we met and partnered up. So with that, when I'm doing 20 questions with an agent, a realtor, the next question I do ask is, what area do you service? And I believe you might have a very unique answer to this.
Sure. I mean, I am geographically located in College Station, Texas. I do service some business here, but the bigger thing in what I do is really what area. I mean, it's around the world. I mean, primarily United States. We're starting to get to a point where we're growing beyond that. But, quite frankly, anywhere someone can be in the business of selling real estate is part of my market area and what I do on the, agent development side of things. So, it's pretty wide open. I do a little bit locally, but that's a very tiny part of what I do at this point.
Especially with the digital age now, everyone is connected, right?
Oh yeah, it's an incredible thing with the internet. I mean, none of this, as far as what I do today, wouldn't be possible without the internet. I mean, we live in a completely different world now where, people can have a business, that's not geographically fixated, just like, generation or two ago back. I mean, you were really pretty well limited to where you were at locally, which is just not the case anymore. We can do so much with the internet. It's incredible.
100%. Well, with all that said, are you ready to get into the 20 questions? So the way that this is going to go is I'm going to ask you 10 questions that are pretty straightforward to get to know you, to get to know a little bit who you are. And then I'm going to ask you 10 random questions. Now, these questions can be something as goofy and silly as, how do you like your bacon? Or these questions could be something serious as, who is the most important person in your life at this moment right now? The way that we're going to decide the randomness is that I'm going to ask you to tell me a number 1 through 137. We're going to do that 10 times. Each one of those numbers corresponds to a question. All right. So that makes sense?
Sounds
fun. You ready for this?
Yeah, let's roll with it.
All right, let's go. So, question number 1. I know you're a passionate guy, so what do you feel passionate about?
Well, I really, really love fast cars. So high performance cars, all sorts. If you ask me my favorite, I have a lot of favorites. I mean, the list is pretty exhaustive. I don't think it ever really ends. But I like exotic cars. I also like some others too. Just stuff that goes very fast when you're sitting behind the wheel. More on the modern side. I'm not as into the classics. I appreciate the history of the automotive industry, but I'm more into the modern stuff. And I mean,
Always four wheels, not two?
yeah, four wheels. I mean, I appreciate motorcycles. I have a motorcycle license, but I don't have one currently. I'm sure that will change at some point, but now I'm far more into cars, comparatively. But besides that, I mean, I really love, being able to help people grow and develop with what I do in business. So that's a big part of why I do that versus, I guess an assortment of other things that I could be doing. But, I'm happy to, have found my niche on that side of things. And I mean, yeah, cars is just my hobby. I want to do more with cars in the time ahead too, especially as I move further along the path of my goals as well with that. So.
Absolutely. We need to do a cannonball run with all our guys across the nation,
Oh, yeah, we'll do something.
Yeah.
100%.
100%. More meetups need to be done. Well, I have a follow-up question then with that. What's your favorite car?
Man,
if you got to pick one,
if I only had to pick one, it would be a Pagani.
Pagani, really?
Probably a Pagani Zonda. If I really had to pick one, but that aside, I have a lot of favorites. I mean, that would be that's a pretty substantial goal. If that's on my list, it is. It's just
sure.
Pretty, I'm not even gonna say it's like pretty far out there because I mean you're talking a multi-million-dollar car, but in between where I'm at today and that point, I have a lot of cars on the wish.
To get your Matchbox collection. All right.
Basically, yeah.
Excellent. All right. So now, question number 2: what do you feel is your best quality as a person or as a individual in your profession?
So in my profession, I would say my ability to see a commitment through. And I say that because I've just seen in my, in our industry, especially, you're talking about getting started in real estate. It's something entrepreneurial. And the biggest problem I see most people that get started have is that they don't follow through. They don't stick with it long enough to see any real traction with it, because this is not an area where you can really excel if your commitment level is, hey, let me see how this works, or let me see how this goes, or let me see how the first few months are, whether you think that going in or it just plays out to be the reality. I've noticed over time that, I do have an ability to see things through that I start, if it's something I want to really commit to it and to see progress with it. And, that's something I'm glad I have that quality, because it's taken me, it's taken me places and made some positive things happen in my life.
Okay, excellent. Yes, and I can attest to that. That is definitely needed. So number 3 now. What has been the best piece of advice you have received, and how have you applied it in your life?
Yeah, so best piece of advice I've received, and it wasn't, the way I learned this wasn't someone necessarily telling me, hey, this is what you need to do, but it was more so like through lessons, through story. But, very simply put, without getting into the whole story right now, it's that we become what we think about. That was the best thing I ever learned.
I think Earl Nightingale?
Yeah, Earl Nightingale. Yep, it's from that. I didn't learn that quickly though, so it wasn't like, for me, I didn't just like read it.
It didn't just all of a sudden click.
Yeah,
oh, that makes sense.
I mean, I heard that phrase, but I didn't really understand fully what it meant. It took me quite a while to actually learn and digest it. But at one point in time, I did come across that idea, and over some more time, I learned to apply it in my life. And so what ended up happening is I learned through my mentor, just how to shift my focus from thinking short term to thinking long term. Because if we become what we think about, if we're thinking, over a very short time frame, like, hey, what's tomorrow look like versus does my future look like? Your actions are going to be different. So I started to shift my actions according to this, long-term thinking that I learned to cultivate through this idea that we become what we think about. Because very simply put, if we think about nothing, what do we become? We become nothing. But if we set a target, a destination, and then start doing things today that are going to take us closer to that destination over a longer course of time, then, I mean, it changes what we do on a day-to-day basis, because then we're not just living for tomorrow, we're living for the future. And, we know that over time, we can build something with it. So
100%.
That's the biggest thing.
Good points.
Yep.
Good points. Excellent. And I'm sure with that answer, this kind of dovetails perfectly into this next question. What has been your greatest success for your business to date?
Yeah, my greatest success with my business to date, I mean, being in real estate has meant so many positive things for me. So I see that answer. I could say personally what it means. I'm going to kind of stick more towards the business side, because it has meant there have been milestones I've been able to reach personally, but not speaking on that right now, speaking more so on the business side, because I think it's maybe more conducive towards the question. Is it's actually what has been accomplished this year thus far, which for me, since really over the past year, a little more than a year now, I made a shift in my business to where I was focusing prior on my personal production and getting my own deals done. I've made a shift to where the bigger part of what I do is helping other people in our business, like I mentioned earlier. So the greatest thing I've accomplished to date is very much in line with that, because I set a goal going into this year, to help a certain amount of people get their first real estate transaction done. And I'm on track to meet that goal. But what that means today is year to date, I've had the opportunity to, on some level or another, help 24 newly licensed real estate agents get their first transaction closed this year. So I'm progressing towards that goal. And to me, that's the greatest accomplishment, because it just to see other people progressing on this journey, I know exactly what it means, to get into real estate, to see traction with it, to see positive things, because, it might be one deal now, and for some it's been more than one since, but it might just be that starting point, but like how that can develop from that first, experience and building upon it, it can absolutely be life-changing. So to me, that's the greatest thing, just to see others progressing on that journey who I did something to help with along the way. So.
Well, I can attest to that, because you helped me with me getting my license and my first closing as well. So I'm one of those 24.
I love it, man. I love it. It makes me so happy.
So thank you for that, and keep doing what you're doing, sir. But now, number 5. What would you like to learn the most, and why?
So yeah, this one's. I mean, for me, it's an interesting question, because I've kind of got the mindset that I'm never done learning. It kind of goes back to, that question about, best piece of advice. At one point along the way, I learned, that I can control my progression. I can control what's going into my mind and what I'm doing with that in the process. So part of that for me is just constantly learning. I don't see a point in which my learning stops in life. I believe for a lot of people, it stops with school. It stops with college, if that's the route they went. For me,
sure.
It's a lifelong journey. So that said, I put things into my mind that I want to be there. I'm very intentional about that. I'm pretty, on one hand, I'm pretty fulfilled with what I've learned thus far. On the other hand, I know it's a journey that never ends. So I kind of got a different answer.
So you don't want to learn karate. You don't want to learn something, some tech talent or something.
I mean, I can think of things along those lines. Not really. I wouldn't say, maybe. I mean, there's something car related for sure. Would love to learn, more skills. That I like. For instance, I'll throw this out there, and then I'll kind of put a different answer on it. Like I'd love to competitively race at some point along the way.
Okay.
So I would love to. develop that skill and learn from professionals how to really dial in, the different skill sets, to do, driving wise on a racetrack. And so that's something I like to do, at a point along my way here. But besides that, I'd like to learn just from firsthand experiences, like what it's like to experience, different milestones. Like I'd like to learn what it's like, and this is something I feel like I'm working towards, but to have like more people that need my help than I have time to help them, because I know when I get to a point, I'll figure out a solution to it. So I don't know what that's like yet. I'd like to experience what that's
interesting.
So I know probably a different take on that question. I'd like to learn, what it's like to truly be financially free. Like I'm closer to that point right now than I've ever been. It's actually something that's not far on the horizon at this point, so it's pretty exciting. But not only that, but I'd like to experience what that's like firsthand, and then I'd like to help a lot of other people do that. And
I like your perspective on that, and the approach in that answer.
So I know
instead of just learning a skill or something.
Yeah, probably a little different, but an experience, because I've never really truly. Like, I have an idea, I'm closer to it than ever, but like to truly know what it's like and truly know what it means. Like, because I like the idea, but to truly know what it means, I think that's a game changer. So I'd like to firsthand just, learn that from my experience. So.
All right. Well, in a couple of years, we'll follow back to this.
For sure.
And see what you've learned. All right. So then, what's simple change, and I know you're going to have a good answer for this, but what simple change can someone make in their life that would have the biggest positive impact?
Yeah.
Simple, but big impact.
Simple. I mean, simple and easy might be two different things, right?
I didn't say easy.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's hard to really just pinpoint one thing. I think there's a few things that come together and kind of work together here. But I would say, what's a simple change someone can make in their life that would have the biggest positive impact? I'd say commitment and going all in on something that you would like to do. Something that, not something that someone told you or someone else put in your life, but something that you truly want to do. But not only making that commitment and going all in with it, but surrounding yourself with the right people in the right environment. That is crucial, because you could be committed, important. You could be all in, but what if you're surrounded with people every single day that aren't, that are fighting your growth, that are like standing in the way of you doing what you want to do, versus being in an environment of people that, are supportive, that are encouraging, that believe that, hey, you're on a journey, maybe it's a hard one, but hey, they're not telling you every single day you can't do it either. They're not fighting what you want to go out and there and do. So, the right environment with the right people, it's absolutely crucial. But, it's all those things tied together. Commitment, going all in is two ways of saying the same thing, really. But then, who you're around and where, your environment is, like, your environment's either conducive towards your growth or not. If you want,
people can either lift you up or be your anchors.
Exactly. So you've got to find people to put into your life that, if you're trying to do something, like you've got to put yourself around other people who have already done it and who, are either helping you along the way or supporting you along the way. That way, you're not left to 100% your own devices at the end of the day, but you're in a place where you can grow and become that, who you want to be with whatever it is you want to go out there and do.
And it all starts with commitment.
Starts with commitment, because if you're halfway committed, the environment and the people, it's not going to make as much of a difference. I mean, you've got to be fully committed to it.
Yep. All right. Good answer. All right. We're getting down to the last three, and then we're going to do the rapid fire 10. So number 7, what is more important in your life than your work right now?
I would say the people in it, the people, family, people who I would consider equivalent to family, on par with family, and making, a positive difference in those people's lives. For me, that's what it's all about. It goes hand in hand with my work at this point. I mean, I do have to be intentional about making sure, that my wife has the time we need, because she's not a part
You want to stay married, right?
yeah, she's not a part of my business on the real estate side.
Uh-huh.
So, that takes some intentionality, but, it's the people in it, because that's, like, otherwise, then what's life without, having, like making, the most of the people in it, and the people you care about along the way, and making a difference for them.
What's the point of going through the journey if you don't get to know the passengers?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yes. All right. So, number 8 now. If you could live your life again, knowing all that you know, you just had a birthday too. How old you? What are you? 31?
No,
30?
no, not yet. I got some time.
Yeah, exactly. Not even. What are you 26, 27 then?
29.
Okay, all right. So, in all your whole 29 years here on God's green earth, live in the life again, let me rephrase the question. If you could live your life again, knowing what you know now, what would you have changed?
So that's I kind of got two different answers for this, and it's just a perspective thing. So my first answer is nothing, because, it goes with this, like, butterfly effect. It's like if you make one small change, it could literally change everything, right? So it's just this idea of, like, hey, even if I pinpointed something, like my life I might not even be living this life today, which I really, I like where I am today. It's like completely on track, on course in terms of where I want to be and where I want to be moving towards, and with the people who I want there. So, that wasn't always the case at every point along the way, but it is today. So with that in mind,
sure,
I wouldn't change anything, because I never really know if I do, like, does it lead to me being where I am today?
Back to where you are now.
With the people I am. So, that's answer. My first answer, but, that's one perspective. Another perspective, that I'll acknowledge is, well, hey, if I'm looking back, what would have, probably been beneficial is just to put myself out there, from a younger age, even,
buy Bitcoin,
even going
like that, right?
Yeah, I guess that's one perspective.
I mean, those, the generic answers like, oh, I would have invested in Apple,
Well,
like,
I mean, I feel like that's kind of that's a way to cheat in answering that question, because anyone can you can always go hindsight on an investment that would have worked, and you'd be like, that's always a way to answer that question.
Exactly.
But, like, for me, it's just putting myself out there. Even when I was younger, I was always the shy kid. I was always the one that wasn't talkative, and like, even getting it into real estate, that was the biggest thing I had to learn how to do, is put myself out there more. And, there's plenty of opportunities where, it's always saying, well, if I put myself out there more in that situation, what would have happened? It's like, there's a lot of what ifs along the way of my journey, just with that simple idea. But like I said, where did it all end up? I feel very blessed for where I am today, and, the people I have in my life and what I have going on with it. So with that in mind, I probably wouldn't.
You don't want to change anything.
I probably wouldn't make that decision, even if I could go back and say, well, yeah, I could have seen what happens next in all these situations, but does it lead to where I am today? I don't know. Probably not.
Yeah. No. Good point. All right. So now, we asked what the best piece of advice you had and what you did with it. What has been the worst piece of advice you have ever gotten, and why was it a bad piece of advice?
It's something I've heard. I don't know if anyone necessarily told me directly, but it's just this idea I hear, put out there in society, and it's being realistic. I think that's the worst piece of advice I've ever heard. Because
interesting.
Because what's that mean? It's like, does that mean, like, to think small, to, like, play small? Because I don't believe in that. I believe in thinking big and playing big. What's realistic? Is it like, is it just like the median or the average of what everyone does? Why go out there and try? Like, if you're going to, like, really put yourself out there to get something, like, why be realistic? Like, no, you should think big. You should. Like, we have one life to live. It's literally our one opportunity. It's like, so I think that's the worst advice, because, like, who's telling that advice? Like, it's like people that want you to be safe. Like, why? Like, what's the point? Because if, like, to me, that's like, okay, that's like saying from day one, okay, yeah, I'm not going to go for my dreams. It's like, what's the point? Go for what
Putting that glass ceiling on
Yeah.
you. Putting that glass ceiling
like,
on you. Wow.
why
No.
limit yourself? Like, shoot, like I see it like, well, if you're not realistic, at least you're putting yourself out there and putting yourself in a position where something's possible. Because if not, then it's not even possible. It's not even like being realistic will not take you where you want to go in life. So I think that's the worst advice I've heard. And, you know, I'm feel very blessed that I figured out a way to actually, you know, go after bigger things and to not really limit myself with what I was doing. So
I like that. I like that. Good answer. Good answer. All right. So we've touched on this throughout these questions. But number 10, where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years? Driving that Pagani Zonda? I know I butchered that one.
Yeah, Pagani, yeah.
Pagani, there you go.
So, I mean, with the way things work in real estate, especially when you're consistently growing, it can compound. So a 5-year and a 10-year goal can be, you know, substantially different with that in mind. So I guess probably speaking more towards the 5-year end of the spectrum here, you know, to directly help about 500 other real estate professionals move closer towards their goals in this business. So whatever that goal is, whether it's getting their first deal done or, you know, making something, you know, bigger happen from that, that's part of it. And to indirectly, I said directly, that when I say directly, I mean like people I'm like pretty well in direct communication with in some sense, helping along that path. And then indirectly, closer to 10,000 people. And when I say indirectly, that would be through, you know, mediums like social media. That would be even through people that I help who go out and help someone else as a result. You know, sort of that scenario. To build my real estate business, you know, to a point where there's, you know, into the 6 figures in monthly cash flow coming in, simultaneously to build a portfolio of cash flowing real estate. You know, that's something I'd like to do with a lot of the money my business is generating in time, is to continue to buy real estate and to build a portfolio of real estate that I'm holding long term. And same thing with stocks. I love the stock market, so also to be, you know, building and investing in the stock market, you know, primarily for the long term with stock, actual shares of companies that I like. And beyond that, just, I mean, within 5 years, I mean, I'm on track to be financially free well before that point. So, you know, just along the way, I mean, I don't see it as like, oh yeah, constantly upgrade my lifestyle, but like, you know, I do want to have the dream house. You know, I want to, you know, I have pretty lofty car goals. So just, you know, start building that car collection that I, you know, ultimately desire, and just live the lifestyle I want to with my family and my loved ones, and just not really be restricted to what we can do, where we can go, and
not be realistic.
Exactly. But
all right,
the biggest thing for me is just, you know, who I take with me along the journey, along the way, being someone positive, you know, to affect others. Because the more I do that, like, to me, that's how I get the most fulfilled. Like I used, like, when I was very early on in the journey, I got fulfilled when a check hit my account. Now it's like I'm used to that. Like, it's not, you know, I'm not all the way where I want to be financially, but at the same time, like, seeing a check hit my account doesn't really do too much to me, just mentally. But like, when I see someone else go out there, apply themselves, and get a result that I did anything positive to help with along the way, that makes me, you know, feel very fulfilled. And, you know, and funny enough, the more I do that, the more the financial goal, you know, takes care of.
Enrich others to become enriched, right?
Exactly. So that's, you know, that's where I see myself being 5 years. I mean, 10 years is just a compounded version of that. So,
well, we got a kind of a saying in our group, right? We'll see each other in 2030.
Yeah, 100%. Yep.
So
it's exciting to think about.
It is. All right. Well, now we got the rapid 10 answers, 10 questions. They're going to be pretty much almost like yes and no's. I'm going to need 10 numbers, though. So give me a number 1 through 135.
Let's see. 99.
99. All right. Give me another number.
11.
All right. Another one.
13.
All right. Another one.
24.
Keep going.
55.
All right, keep going.
120.
All right, keep going. Got 4 more.
70.
71 through 135. You only got 1 over 100 so far. Got 3 left.
29.
29. All right, 2 more.
134.
All right, and last one.
1.
All right. Interesting. Okay, so we'll start with question number 99. What's the biggest meal you ever ate?
Oh, man. Shoot. I'm just.
I know you're down in Texas. You got some big barbecue down there. Everything's big in Texas, so this isn't a fair question, but
I'm trying to think. There's probably been, one too many instances where this has happened. It had to have been a buffet. I'm just trying to, I feel like this is one of those things where it's like you try not to remember, like the eating part was really good,
sure.
but the after part was not so good. So,
all right, what type of food do you think it was then? Is it something like a buffet, like some barbecue maybe, or something?
Yeah, it may actually no. It was probably pizza. Honestly,
pizza. Yeah, you're a big fan of pizza. You say?
I love pizza, but probably a situation where I had
too much pizza,
2 or 3 too many slices or something like that. But actually,
okay, all right.
Kind of a different. I do remember one instance. Sonic has. It's not really food, but kind of. I mean, milkshake. Sonic has these ridiculous sizes, and I got a large milkshake one time, and I felt terrible. I think I drank all of it. I felt terrible. It was this huge cup, 32 ounce or something. I felt terrible. I'm like, man, I'm never doing that again.
It's like a quart of ice cream.
Gosh, yeah, bad idea.
All right. Number 2. Which do you prefer, form or function?
Form, or
does it have to look right, or it doesn't matter what it looks like as long as it functions? So look at a car as an example. You appreciate a pretty car, or hey, it gets me to where I'm going. I don't care that I got the 155 mile per hour tape on it holding it together.
Yeah, I think form. I mean, to an extent it goes hand in hand, but I think it depends what we're talking about, but I think I'm someone who has kind of an artistic eye, so I appreciate form. And yeah, with cars, to me, it's not like I said. I like performance cars. I mean, that's my favorite car is not the fastest car in the world. So it's
sure,
that there is something in terms of the considering
of the beauty,
that really the whole package, all the details. And so, yeah, it's not just the function. So there, I do the form side of things.
Nice. Now this is one that might split people out there. Cake or pie?
Oh, cake, no question.
All right, cake. Interesting.
I like pie.
Any particular
cake?
Any particular cake? Any particular flavor cake?
Yeah, I mean, my wife makes cakes for my birthday, and I love those because they're one of a kind.
So you just had that? What was the cake that you just had? What do you know what flavor it was? Do you remember?
It was.
She's gonna see this too, so you better remember it.
It was a caramel ice cream cake.
Oh,
salted
nice.
Caramel ice cream cake.
Oh, that sounds really good. That's not your atypical cake, though. It's not your yellow, Pillsbury cake. That's a step up.
Yeah, my wife will make me special cakes for my birthday. But if we're talking more,
nice.
If we're talking more typical, I love the all out chocolate with the chocolate filling and the chocolate chips on the side, like the crazy rich chocolate cake. That's my right there.
All right. Good. All right. Now this is going to be another controversial one. I want you to be honest with us. Bath or shower?
Shower. I mean, bath.
All right.
Dude,
your reaction. I could tell you were telling the truth from your reaction. You couldn't. Your poker face wasn't there. Where you're like, I take showers, sir.
Yeah, it's just I like just getting it done and not.
You gotta join us in the cold showers. I've been hitting that this last week every morning.
There you go. That will wake you up.
Start your day off. That's all right. All right, number 5. Are you a movie and this is again, man, I'm hitting with the controversial questions in this time of year or time that we live in right now. Movie at home or movie at theater, you know? And this is let's take away the whole COVID stuff out before there was ever a pandemic. Movie at home or movie at the theater?
I mean, I think something cool about a movie at a theater. I mean, I don't think I have a big enough home yet where I could argue.
Yeah, there's the true answer.
I mean, I think maybe at some point that that will invert, but for now, movie at theater.
Mm-hmm. All right. Number 6. One of the 2 questions you went into the triple digits. All right. Interesting. This is a little more insightful. What is something that can't be taught and can only be learned with age?
Experience. I mean, that's the trick. I mean, with our business too, it's like you could learn, watch videos, everything. I mean, until you hands on, go out there and do something and like apply something and see what happens and actually experience what it was like to, it's a different level of understanding. So just getting that hands-on experience with whatever it is you're doing or want to do, I mean, there's no substitute for that.
100%. All right. Excuse me. Number 8. Comic book or comic strips?
Comic book or comic strips?
Comic book as in Marvel, DC, McFarlane, or comic strips like the Peanuts and anything. See, problem with that question, we're at the age where how many people still get the Sunday paper?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm like thinking. I don't think I've ever read comic books or comic strips, but I think I'd probably go with the books. I know what they are.
Comic books.
I think I always had a harder time like following along the comic strips. So
sure. All right, so let's see. Number 8 is number 29. Again, this is one of those questions that the longer I do this, I got a feeling it's going to be more dated and always skewed to one answer. But online shopping or shopping in a store?
Oh, I hate shopping in the store, so I'll buy everything. If I don't have to go to the store, I'm good.
Amen to that. It is getting a little weird when I have an Alexa and she'll remind me to order stuff for my dog, and it's like, whoa, I can order stuff on my own. I don't need now a digital reminder as well. They're that much into our lives, but
that's
definitely
crazy.
Rather not leave if I don't have to. All right, got 2 more questions here. Number 134. Do you go for stability or uncertainty?
That's it's kind of a tricky question. I mean, I'd have to say uncertainty. That's not the point, though. I mean, the stability. It's like to me the thing I think of when I hear that is like, do you go for a job or do you go and do something like an entrepreneur does? 'Cause, like, by nature, like we don't really have stability. I mean, you can go
What's
out
stability?
there. You can get. I mean, it's possible to work towards it. It's kind of but no, I just if I was really about stability, I probably wouldn't be.
You wouldn't be in this.
Probably wouldn't be in the game.
100%.
Probably. I'm okay with uncertainty. Just knowing, hey, I'm working towards my goals. It might not happen tomorrow or next month, but I'm working closer towards it.
No, true. All right, here's the last answer. It's a tough one, and this is another divider. The internet will either love or hate you for this answer. I'm telling you right now. Dog or cat?
Oh, that's hard. Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. I mean,
no political answers either. No political answers.
No, I probably dog, but that's so hard, man. Because I've had, I've had cats that were like dogs, and they were.
Oh, you've had a cat too.
I've had cats.
Have you owned both?
Oh yeah, right now I have a dog that's the sweetest. But I grew up. I've had a couple of different cats that behaved like dogs, and they were awesome cats. So I'd probably answer differently according to the time. But I love my dog. So
Okay, I was gonna say, I'm like, don't tell me you love both. That's the political answer we were not looking for. So dogs it is. You hear it here, folks. Tyler Roicki loves dogs, and if you're a cat, you got to be like a dog. That's what he was saying as
Yep.
well.
Yep. There you go.
Well,
That's
sir,
the key.
that has been our 20 questions. I appreciate you for the time. We went a little over, but we had a lot of in-depth answers there. I appreciate all the things you do. You've been a great inspiration, a great mentor to me personally. For all those you out there that are watching this, check out his channel, The Growth Agents. Is it with an S or just with no S? Growth Agent.
That's the channel. Also, I have one. This is my name. That's probably the one I'd go to first. So Tyler Roicki. If you search my name, you'll see me come up. If you want to see my channel, or I mean, same thing. If it's on Instagram, you're trying to find me there. Just put my name in there, and you'll find me.
Perfect. And we are going to be having more and more of these episodes coming out. I hope to do another follow-up in a year or two just to progress, see where we are, follow up with the guests and everything. But I truly appreciate you for coming on, being my first inaugural guest, breaking my little YouTube cherry here with this, and I can't wait to see how we grow together, my man.
Let's go. I'm excited. Thank you for having me on. Thank you to everyone who watched and shared your time with us, part of your time today with us. And make sure you're supporting Brian's channel here and following along the journey ahead. And we will see you in the time ahead, I'm sure.
Excellent. Thank you guys again. Make sure you hit that bell, subscribe, Hochstetter Homes LLC, and we will see you on the next episode.